We've known each other many years, but this is the first time you ever came to me for counsel, for help. I can't remember the last time that you invited me to your house for a cup of coffee. Even though my wife is godmother to your only child. But let's be frank, you never wanted my friendship. And you were afraid to be in my debt.
I didn't want to get into trouble.
Cinema has the power to stay with us long after the screen goes dark. Some films entertain us, some films impress us, but a very few rare films change the way we see stories forever. They redefine cinema, they push boundaries, and they leave a lasting impact on generations of filmmakers and audiences. In this video, we're counting down the top 10 movies ever made in Hollywood. These are the films that stood the test of time, films that shaped cinema as we know it today. So sit back, take a moment, and let's begin the countdown.
Got you, Clary.
We begin our list with The Silence of the Lambs. Well, this is not just a thriller, it is something far more disturbing. The film blends horror, crime, psychological drama, and it does so with complete control. Now, the story follows Clarice Sterling, a young FBI trainee. She must interview Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Brilliant, terrifying, impossible to ignore. You see, what truly elevates this film is the chemistry between Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. It is tense, it never lets you relax. So even more than 30 years later, the film still works. It still unsettles, it still holds powers. And here's the remarkable part. It remains one of the only horror thrillers to ever win all major Academy Awards. Few films capture the idea of hope quite like The Shawshank Redemption. The story takes place inside a prison. Cold walls, long years, of very little mercy. At the center are two men, Andy Dufresne and Alice Red Reddings. Their friendship grows slowly, through routine, through hardship, through quiet moment of trust. What makes this movie special is its patience. It never rushes emotions. It allows time to do the work. And when the ending finally arrives, it feels earned, it feels honest, and it feels deeply satisfying. Because at its core, there is a story about hope and about holding on to it, even when everything else is taken away.
Bunny.
Now, I want you to go in that bag and find my wallet.
Which one is it?
It's the one that says bad motherfucker.
At number 8, we have Pulp Fiction. When Pulp Fiction arrived, it did not follow the rules. It challenged them, then it broke them. The story is non-linear. Dialogue is sharp. Characters are unforgettable. Scene folds out of order, but somehow everything fits. From Vincent and Jules to Mia Wallace to the moments that feel instantly iconic. What Quentin Tarantino proved was simple. Storytelling does not need tradition to be powerful. Pulp Fiction changed how filmmakers use dialogue, use music, use characters. And decades later, it still feels old, still feels fresh, still feels alive.
Nah, man. I'm pretty fucking far from okay.
Now come the days of the king. May they be blessed.
Number 7 belongs to The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. This is the end of a journey, and what an ending it is. The Return of the King brings the trilogy to its conclusion. Battle unfolds on a massive scale. Emotions reaches their peak. Every storyline finds resolution. There is sacrifice, there is loss, and there is triumph. What stands out most is the sense of completion. Everything finally matters. Peter Jackson combines vision with scale, visual effects with emotions, music with memory, and the result is historic. 11 Academy Awards and a tied record, and a film that stands as one of the greatest conclusions cinema has ever seen. Cheers for that.
My name's Forrest Gump.
Some characters stay with you long after the film ends. Forrest Gump is one of them. He's simple, he's kind, and he sees the world without judgment. Through his life, he brushes against major moments in history, yet the story never feels grand. It feels personal, it feels human. Tom Hanks brings warmth to every scene, not through complexity, but through sincerity. The film moves effortlessly between comedy and heartbreak, between innocence and loss. At its heart, Forrest Gump is about life itself, unpredictable, messy, and sometimes unexpectedly beautiful.
Where are those transmissions you intercepted? What have you done with those plans?
We intercepted no
At number 5, we have Star Wars A New Hope. This is where a galaxy was born. When it arrived, cinema had never seen anything like it. Star Wars A New Hope changed filmmaking forever. Audiences were introduced to Jedi, lightsabers, distant planets, and epic space battles that felt larger than imagination itself. But more importantly, they were introduced to myth: Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and the Darth Vader. They were not just characters, they were archetypes, heroes, rebels, and villains drawn from the timeless storytelling traditions. The story itself was very simple: good versus evil, hope versus darkness. Yet that simplicity is exactly what made it powerful. It reshaped blockbusters, transformed science fictions, and proved that spectacle could still have a heart. And the decades later, the universe it created continues to grow, capturing new generations while honoring the old.
He turns to me and he says, "Why so serious?" He comes at me with the knife.
This is not just a superhero film. The Dark Knight is something darker, something heavier. It asks difficult questions about chaos, morality, and about the true cost of doing what is right in a world that often punishes it. At the center of the story stands a Joker, unpredictable, uncontrolled, terrifying. He does not want money. He does not want power. He wants to prove a point that order is fragile and that anyone can fall when pushed far enough. Heath Ledger's performance is unforgettable, not because it's loud, but because it is deeply unsettling. Every smile feels dangerous, every pause feels intentional. Opposite him, Batman is forced to confront his own limits, not as a hero, but as a symbol. Every scene carries tension, every word carries weight, even silence feels heavy. Christopher Nolan grounded fantasy in reality, turning a comic book story into a psychological crime drama that felt disturbingly believable. The result changed expectations, not just for a superhero film, but for blockbuster storytelling itself. Even years later, The Dark Knight remains a benchmark, a film that proved how serious, complex, and how powerful this genre could really be.
Stop there.
This film does not
Will
explain
you
itself.
stop, Dave?
It invites you to think. A space odyssey is not interested in easy answers. It explores humanity,
Stop.
where we come
Dave.
from, where we are going, and what we might become. It reflects on evolution, on technologies, and on the vast unknown that lies beyond human understanding. The pacing is slow, deliberate, almost meditative. But that is not a flaw. This is the experience. The film asks you to observe, to reflect, and to sit with ideas rather than rush past them. From the calm, unsettling presence of Hell 9000 to the unforgettable Stargate sequence, every moment challenges how stories can be told on screen. There is no traditional hero, no clear expectation, no clear explanation, no final conclusion. It does not offer answers. It offers questions about intelligence, about control, and about humanity's place in the universe. And in doing so, A Space Odyssey did not just redefine science fiction, it changed the language of cinema itself.
Yeah, looks like you're right.
There's a plane waiting for us to take us to Miami in an hour.
Great sequels are rare.
They'll make a
This
big
one
thing about it.
is extraordinary. The Godfather Part 2 does not simply continue the story, it expands it,
I
it
know
complicates
you,
it,
Fredo.
and ultimately it darkens it.
Broke my heart.
The film tells two stories at once: the rise of Vito Corleone and the fall of his son Michael. Past and present unfold side by side, mirroring ambitions and consequences. We watch Vito build power through patience, intelligence, and quiet resolve. And we watch Michael inherit that power, only to lose something far more important along the way. As power grows, humanity fades. Family becomes strategy. Love becomes weakness. The performances are haunting not because they are loud, but because they are restrained. Every look feels loaded. Every silence feels intentional. The themes are heavy. The tragedy feels inevitable. This is not just a continuation, it is deepening. A film that proves greatness can evolve. And sometimes the cost of power is the loss of one's soul.
Is that why you slap my brother around in public?
Oh, no, that was nothing, Mike. Mo didn't mean
At the top of the list stands a film often called as the greatest of all time, The Godfather. It did not just tell a story, it redefined how stories could be told through atmosphere, through character. and through moral complexities that refused easy answers. Marlon Brando created an icon, a figure of quiet authority where power lived not in words, but in presence and restraint. Al Pacino delivered one of the most chilling transformations ever put on screen. A man who begins as an outsider and slowly became something colder, darker, and irreversible. The world of Corleone family feels alive and intimate, not because of the spectacles, but because of the details. Every choice has weight, every silence has meaning, every moment feels deliberate. Violence is never celebrated, power is never free, and the loyalty always comes at a cost. This is more than a movie, it is a benchmark, a film that shaped modern cinema and continues to influence everything that came after it. And decades later, The Godfather still stands at the top, not because of what it shows, but because of what it understands about power, family, and human nature.
Let her ask.
No, she's afraid to. Connie and Carla want you to be godfather to their little boy.
No, we'll see.
Will you?
Let me think about it. We'll see. Come on.
And those were the top 10 movies ever made in Hollywood. Each one left a mark on cinema, on storytelling, and on the way we experience films. Some redefined genres, some changed how stories are told, and some simply reminded us why movies matter. Now it is your turn. Which of these films is your all time favorite? Or is there any one you believe should have been on the list? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy thoughtful breakdowns like this, subscribe for more cinema and music content.